Natural selection. It is a process in which individuals that have certain inherited traits tend to survive and reproduce at higher rates than do other individuals because of those traits. Now, natural selection, there are three types of it. There's directional, disruptive, and finally, stabilizing. Directional selection is when natural selection favors one extreme of continuous variation. Over time, the favored extreme will become more common and the other extreme will be less common or lost. So in this example, I'll be using oysters. So if thicker shelled oysters are more resistant to breaking than thinner shelled oysters, crabs will be less able to prey upon them. So therefore, thicker shelled oysters are more likely to survive and therefore more likely to reproduce and carry on. Stabilizing selection is when natural selection favors the intermediate states of continuous variation. Over time, these states become more common and each extreme variation will become less common or lost. So in this example, I'll be using babies. Smaller babies may be easier to deliver but are more likely to die due to infections and diseases, while bigger babies are a lot harder to deliver. Therefore, intermediate-sized babies are more common. And finally, we have disruptive selection. Disruptive selection is when natural selection favors both extremes of continuous variation. Over time, these two extreme variations will become more common and the intermediate states will be less common and lost. Disruptive selection can lead to two different new species. So in this case, we'll be going back to oysters again. So light-colored oysters on the left are more cryptic, therefore they're less easy for predators to see because they match the color of rocks. Dark-colored oysters, on the other hand, blend into the shadows cast by the rocks. So, in this case, intermediate-colored oysters will be most likely heavily preyed upon by the crabs, and the light and dark oysters would survive to reproduce.
Next, we are going to talk about another mechanism of evolution. Genetic drift. The genetic drift is the random changes in gene pool. There are two types of genetic drift. The bottleneck effect and the founder effect. The bottleneck effect is the mass reduction of the population size due to the environmental changes. The marbles inside this bottle is the alleles in the population, and when the disaster occurred, it kills a large number of population. However, those pink and yellow marbles are the surviving population that are likely to have the same genetic makeup as the original population. Next, the founder effect. The founder effect occurs when a small group of the population become isolated from a larger population. We have a large population here in the Big Iceland, and these guys have moved to form a new population here. Therefore, this small group of people is the founder of a new population, where the gene pool differs from the parent population. Next, we are going to talk about gene flow. Gene flow is the movement of individuals and alleles from one population to another. Alleles can be transferred through two movements. The first one is the movement of gametes. From the picture, pollen being blown to a new destination. The second one is the movement of fertile individuals. For example, people moving to new cities or country.
If a version of gene carried across population does not already exist, gene flow can be an important source of genetic variation. For example, the first population, as we can see, is a population of brown bugs. The second population that we can see is now a population of green bugs. As the green bug moves into the population of brown bugs, this increases the genetic variation. However, maintained gene flow over time can lead to genetic variation being reduced. As we can see, as there are increasing numbers of green bugs in the brown population, and as there are more brown bugs in the green population, both populations have the same number of bugs. Some factors stop gene flow from occurring. These are known as barriers to gene flow. They can be allopatric speciation or sympatric speciation. Allopatric speciation are physical barriers that separate two populations so they block gene flow. They can be natural, like mountains, or can be man-made, like the Great Wall of China. Sympatric speciation includes reproductive barriers. For example, these two palm trees have different mating times. Gene flow can have many effects. Firstly, it can affect adaptation, especially to local environments. For example, banded snakes are mostly found on mainland, while these unbanded ones are found on island. These unbanded snakes camouflage better in island habitats. They can also increase fitness of a population. Therefore, gene flow plays a vital role in evolution.